our typical, kind of what was going on in the news kind of stuff. Nothing was really, nothing tickled my fancy, as they say. So I was like, let me take this opportunity. Let's talk about some what they call hot button issues or hot button topics or something, and chop some of that up, and get a little deeper this week. So we got some of that going on this week.
Okay.
All right, I'm ready.
Well,
y'all ready?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into these topics then.
News and noteworthy. The Shiznit.
So we're gonna start off with something real controversial. Have you guys heard about the Gina Rodriguez situation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much everywhere right now. We've gone through this before with J-Lo, and it pops up every now and then, and it's just one of those things with the whole M-bombs and whatever. And what is you guys' take on it? How do you guys
Well, let's
feel
explain
about
it
this?
first.
Okay, yeah, good idea. You're right. So Gina Rodriguez was recording herself on social media, and she was singing the words to a hip hop song, and it had the N-word in it. And when she was singing the song, she sang the song and actually said the N-word, right?
Yep.
So, then somebody else went and dug up an older video of her from years ago.
Oh.
Yeah, where she was acting in a scene, and the script called for her to drop an M-bomb, where she did that as well. And so they, brought that up to add insult to injury. And so now they're kind of trying to go after her. And if you guys don't know who Gina Rodriguez is, she's this actress from her biggest claim to fame right now is Jane the Virgin. She's also done a couple of movies, and she's kind of an up and coming actress.
Yeah.
And so that's who she is. Now, just to let you guys know that her and her family identifies as Afro-Latino, Puerto Rican.
From Chicago.
Yes, Afro-Latino, specifically. So not just her, but her and her family, identify as that. And
let me also say, from my own sake, I know I say a lot of things like, I know them, blah, blah, blah. Actually, I know Gina. Gina's from Chicago. And if you look, before Jane the Virgin was ever on the air, you can Google me, bitch. There is a video called The Good Samaritan starring Gina Rodriguez, and there's a little guy in it by the name of GPS Lily.
GPS Lily. Okay.
And so I've known her for years. I remember before Jane the Virgin went on, I saw her at the Television Critics Award, and I was super excited for her. And so all this success has come for her.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really biased when it comes to this, because I do know that she actually identifies being both black and Latino.
Right.
She doesn't look necessarily black. We think of her looks as Latino. And you guys know, I've always considered Puerto Ricans to be black, just sort of my own. They're in the club in my book. Now, I also want to say, as far as the controversy specifically goes, if this wasn't her and I didn't know her, if this was J-Lo, if this was anybody else that was similar ethnic background, actually, it doesn't have to be the same ethnic background, it would not bother me. Yeah. It would not bother me. It's a word. Right. And words only have the power that you give them.
Right.
And that's my issue when people come after people like this. She's singing along to a song. She's not calling anybody that. That's not her intent to use that to degrade anybody. It's not her intent to hold anybody down and use as a word of power against somebody. She's just singing along to some entertainment. I don't see the big problem.
Yeah, people have eliminated context, from the conversation.
Right.
I don't like that. I don't like the elimination of context, and I don't like the elimination of intent.
Then things have no meaning anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Because sometimes I wish people were a little bit more like my dog. How dogs are. See, dogs now, Casper, he doesn't have a huge vocabulary. I don't know what it is. I know it's, let's just say 25 words. It might be more or less, whatever. I don't know. But now, even though he understands 25 words, that's not his first way of communicating. You know what I mean? Like he or dogs, I should say, I'm talking about my dog specifically, but they're all like this.
They reach energy.
Exactly. They read your energy your inflection, your tone, your gestures.
Body
Dogs
language.
are masters of body language and pointing and things like they're the only animal, as a matter of fact, and there's animals that are way smarter that don't understand pointing.
Mm-hmm.
Dogs are the only animals that understand pointing. And I think that's largely because of that connection that they have with us, and their how they're so good at interpreting whatever. But you can say, something like you can say, "Oh, he's such a stupid little doggy," whatever. But you say it in that little cute baby voice. He's gonna wag his tail and he's gonna lick you and all that.
Yeah, I can
call him bad boy. He knows bad boy. Mm-hmm. He knows what no means. But if I say it like a little baby, all cutesy or whatever, he's just gonna wag his tail and lick me. Or
be confused.
I could yell at him and say, "What a good dog! What a good boy!" And guess what? That tail's gonna stop wagging. His eyes are gonna kind of droop, and his head's gonna go down because he thinks he's in trouble. Even though he knows those words individually and he knows what they mean, but he cares more about the context.
Right.
That's what he's reading first.
The great acting teacher Sanford Meisner said, "An ounce of behavior is worth a pound of words."
There you go. That's dope. That's dope. I love that.
That's a nice one.
I'm gonna post that somewhere or everywhere. But yeah, I like that because I hate that people have removed that from. I've even seen people on social media, Facebook friends and whatever, Twitter friends, whatever, have posted things like, "I don't give a fuck about your intent," and I'm just like, wow. I was flabbergasted when I saw that, and I'm thinking, wow, okay, I think you're a sad person because to me, like, intent is the only thing not the only thing. I don't want to put too much on it, but it's the first thing that matters in my mind.
Yeah. Well, I feel like she was very comfortable with it inside the video. You could clearly tell that. And so the way that she said it let me know, like, she didn't mean any harm by it. But also being a celebrity and being somebody that's in the public eye, you have a social responsibility that you have to be mindful of. And if she wants to say that when she wants to sing her songs, and that's fine. But you have to be aware of your social responsibility to other people. And it's just a slippery slope. And I feel sorry that she got caught on it because
But I think that's
ugly.
That's a responsibility people put on her.
Right.
That's not. I don't think you should have that responsibility. I don't think because you're famous, you are responsible for being the moral high ground for everybody.
No, not necessarily being the moral high ground, but people are looking at you and people
True.
are watching you, whether you want them to or not. This is
Saying this is the price.
This is the price, yeah, pretty much. And even though she didn't mean it, we know she didn't mean it anyway, and you know her personally. And I could tell in the video that she was just feeling the song. But yeah, like, it's the price. Yeah. Not that she has a moral responsibility or anything, but people are watching her. And that's what happened.
Well, I don't know. I don't like it. I'm not down with it. I don't know her. And even before, Pip told me that he knew her, I didn't have a problem with it. I feel like this. If you don't want non-black people saying that word, then stop putting it in your songs.
Agreed.
Well, if you don't want them saying it even in that context, and I'm not saying because you put it in the songs and they could just go out and call somebody that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if you so sensitive about that word that you don't want somebody repeating your lyrics, then stop using those lyrics.
Okay, so I don't really know Gina's family. I do know her cousin. I met her cousin, but I can almost guarantee you, because they from Chicago and I know where they from in Chicago, that they call each other nigga within the family. And on the street and on the block. Her family probably does that.
I could believe it.
I'm sure.
But somebody from the outside looking in, they might not understand that.
I suppose I get that.
Well, then they need to educate themselves. Yeah. Especially if they're black. And if they're not black, then it's not your fight anyway, and stop being offended for other people.
Right.
Right? So stop being offended for other people. That's number one. Stop doing that. Like, I get that you want to be politically correct and you want to be more sensitive, and you don't want to be guilty of some of the things that other people in the past have done, particularly of your race. That's all well and good. I understand your intent and your sentiment, and I applaud that, but don't take it too far, because taking it to the other extreme can be nearly as bad as the other way. So just stop being offended for other people. If it's not your fight, if it's not your situation, just kind of keep it to yourself.
Yeah, it's gotta. That word is so iffy. You gotta be careful where you say it at.
I agree. All words have weight and power in some sort of way, but like I said, it's usually the listener gives it that, and so and people use words that way, like comedians, like Dave Chappelle and stuff like that. They use that for their own sense of power. They're using these words to get a reaction because they know what the typical person, how they're going to respond to these words. So that makes them wordsmiths in the truest sense of the word. Same thing with rappers, like the really good, knowledgeable ones or fun ones. They know how their words are affecting people. So the words do have meaning and weight in that way. And we all should be careful of the words we use because of that to a degree.
Yeah.
And also I feel like, but trying to make the word so taboo that people can't even sing it in a lyric, especially another black person, just because they happen to be, Latino as well, that just gives too much power to the word. That gives it too much power. And there's a long history of groups of people who have taken slurs. And so that's why I don't understand why this word is so confusing for people. Like, people seem to be so just they don't get it, or they don't, how can this person use it, or why can they use it and we can't use it? None of this shit is new.
Right.
None of it's new.
That's not, yeah, exactly.
This has been going on since people been talking.
Right.
People would take, there's a whole long list of words and communities that have taken slurs and owned it, and they can say it, but you can't.
Right.
Gay people have done it with several words, actually. Some of them have come back around to be okay in mainstream,
like queer,
exactly. And some of them remain only
taboo,
they can say like the F, like fag, and some of the other ones or whatever.
Italians.
So
Italians have them too.
There's just so many, and that takes the power away from it. And why you don't understand that when it comes to it's the exact same thing, and you can't as an outsider go around telling people that they can't say it, especially when you're the ones that kind of started it to begin with. If that's what they want to do to take the power back, then that's on them.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the nth degree on this one. And if Hoteps would not like this at all, and I know a lot of my friends that would be say I'm 100% wrong on that, but I don't care if this was a video of Eric Trump doing the same thing. He got the right to do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean,
you got the right to do whatever you want.
Right.
He's singing along to a song.
You got the right to do whatever you want, but the backlash, that's what you want, then that's what you're gonna get. Any random person singing this on the internet or whatever probably wouldn't have gotten as much notoriety, but because she is who she is, you have to be. It's a slippery slope, because somebody might see this and be like, oh, Gina can do it. Now I'm about to go out and do it. And it doesn't always necessarily work like that.
Well, I could see it from the point of view that you like the way her career is sort of laying out right now. She's being sort of sold as this. She is being sold a bit wholesome-ish, which is funny because some of her projects recently have been kind of edgy.
Right. I think she's
on Big Mouth.
I think she's trying to get away from that.
She's on a show called Jane the Virgin.
Right. Yeah.
So
I think
people are putting that on. That's not who she is.
Right. That's just a part that she's played for a few years.
That's why Diane Carroll wanted to be on Dynasty. She wanted to play a bitch so people could stop thinking she was so goody-goody.
Yeah. I mean, that happens to actresses and, actors all the time. People want to put that, they want to identify them as whatever they're used to seeing them as, whatever part that is. They get typecast, pigeonholed, whatever you want to say it is, a half dozen terms for it. Happens all the time. It's very common. And then a lot of times they, after that project is over, they make an effort to kind of widen people's perception of them. So they take projects that are the complete opposite when possible. So yeah, we just saw a movie with her. I can't remember the name of it.
The Netflix movie?
I don't know if it was a Netflix movie or not. I know it was a kind of an action movie. I think it was
like RuPaul in it too.
In the theater, huh?
Was RuPaul in it?
No,
Okay.
no, it was just like an action movie.